Arise now, ye tarnished, ye dead who yet live. Horalu, chieftain of the Badlands, the ever-brilliant Gold Mask. Fear, the deathbed companion.
Yes,
The loathsome dung-eater. And Sir Gideon Othniel, the all-knowing.
Where'd you move here from, dumb?
Hey, before we begin, follow El Twitter. The last one got banned because I posted Viper the Rapper. Follow El Instagram. I posted La Meme. Sub to La Patreon. I need money. And yeah, that's it.
I'm pretty sure we all forgot that I even have lore in these now.
How long are we gonna be on this spaceship for? I feel like we used every excuse in the book already.
I am learned by ChatGPT.
Oh, thanks. That really answers my question. The Lego Movie is one of my favorite animated movies ever. I like it so much, I made a whole video about it. It's such a well-paced, well-written movie. The humor is funny as fuck, hitting that right balance between meta and not obnoxious, creating a really smart satire of its own genre and tropes, while also being a film with actually good plot beats. It's a good-ass movie, and a very successful one, too, grossing over $400 million at the box office. I remember everyone was in love with this movie, even to me, an edgy 8th grader. This film was a very big cultural touchstone in animation. So how come the sequel grossed less than a half of that amount? Well, I actually got 4 answers for you. The first answer is oversaturation. In 2017, there were 2 Lego movies that released. There was the Lego Batman movie, which was fine. It was fun. Then there was the Lego Ninjago movie, which I have not seen. Apparently, it's pretty mid. But both of them released in 2017, around 6 months apart of each other. So already, first of all, you have fatigue of the franchise. But even then, this is your big sequel. People have been waiting for this. And thus lies our second problem, the waiting. I was in the middle of 8th grade in 2014 when the first Lego movie came out. The sequel, however, I was in my first year of college. It took too long to make it, and now nobody wants to fucking see it. No, what people really want to see is a fucking shitty-ass Ninjago movie. No, that's what we gotta prioritize first. But still, people waited like 10 plus years for Avatar 2. So what made the Lego Movie 2 different? Well, number 3, it was barely marketed. The trailers were barely pushed out there, only playing during other kids' movies. I distinctly remember people not realizing the movie actually came out until it was already in the theaters. You, don't want that. But even then, you would think more people would talk about it. Talk about how fucking great it is. I still see the first movie talked about in high reverence. So why doesn't the sequel have any kind of cultural impact? Well, I'll tell you why. It's because the sequel kinda sucks. And I'm gonna talk about why. This is the Lego Movie 2, the movie that made the rights of Lego go to fucking Universal. So our film opens where the last one left off, with the Anchorman guy going, "Now you have to let your sister play with you," causing an invasion of Lego Duplo figures, which is already a pretty odd place to start your story, judging that the original ending was a joke. And you know, it's been 5 years since the original. I don't know, I feel like a time jump would have really benefited this movie. Or maybe even just a kind of different adventure altogether, but that's all subjective. So Emmett tries reasoning with the Duplo figures, but of course they reject him, causing an all-out Lego war. Which on that note, is it just me or is the humor kind of off here? The original film was very self-aware, of course. The jokes didn't last too long or overstay their welcome. In the Lego Movie 2, the first joke is when Emmett is approaching the Duplo figures, and things seem very peaceful at first, and all the characters go into detail about how peaceful things are at first, only for, the expectations to be subverted, and things aren't peaceful at all.
What do you know? It worked.
Even though we're different, I guess if we open our hearts, everything can be awesome.
Now, is it just me or is this joke a little obvious and surprisingly drawn out? Like, I know it's just the first joke of the movie, but with a film whose strength was that the humor was so fast-paced, blink and you miss it, on top of being very subversive, this joke is just weirdly written like it's in itself a trope on TV tropes. You know what? Fuck 12! Fuck TV tropes! The Duplo War begins, and man, is it devastating. Reminds me of the violent wars I've seen in... Okay, use that already. I need some new anti-war thing to reference. perfect. So the Duplo figures keep attacking as Wildstyle laments over the attack, plunging the Lego world into complete chaos.
A league of brave heroes volunteered to chase them to wherever they came from.
Unfortunately, their movie fucking sucked. I knew we should have had James Gunn lead us. The Justice League then go to save the world, but cut to 5 years later and they're nowhere to be seen, plunging the world into a post-apocalyptic Mad Max-style hellscape.
This new life has toughened and hardened us all.
2 coffees, please.
Damn, he's literally me. So the apocalypse doesn't seem to be hurting Emmett at all, and he continues to be autistic. Lego Movie versus The Good Doctor. Who win in the autistic off? Batman has a brand new Batcave now. It's a post-apocalyptic one, and Wildstyle is all dark and gritty. But thankfully, the goth girl has her autistic golden retriever boyfriend. Should be me! Also, Emmett had a dream sequence, initiated by Wildstyle telling him to be more broody. You know, gaslight, gatekeep, change his personality, girl boss.
Look, all you gotta do is you stare off into the distance and then narrate whatever grim thoughts come into your mind.
I felt like a fool. I was a sweaty, gray-haired mess.
It's used for some kind of foreshadowing. And guess how much relevancy it actually has to the plot? There's a dolphin clock that shows up and is mentioned once more in the movie. Batman's in a sparkly dress or something.
Can we put Robert Pattinson in this, please?
And there's a mention of Armageddon, which way to spoil your fucking movie in the first 7 minutes. Yeah, no, I've never seen the original Lego movie where they did the exact same thing. Only in that movie's case, it was actually fresh because it was the first one to do it. I've seen the first one, movie. I don't gaslight me.
Not bad brooding.
Oh, thanks.
That was definitely just a dream, right? Not some vision of the future.
You know, I don't remember the first movie being this obnoxiously meta. Like, yeah, it had meta comedy in it, but this movie is just so self-deprecating. The original film's meta comedy was so intrinsically tied to pushing the plot forward and making the film feel more personal and earnest. This just feels like they're just making jokes about what's happening in the movie, I guess. And maybe it's just a rough start. Let's keep going. So Emmett built Wildstyle a goofy little house. But Wildstyle's all like,
it's sweet. It is. It's just, it's going to attract aliens and get destroyed.
So instead of rebuilding the house to be edgier and darker, she instead shames Emmett for being too lighthearted.
That song was fine when we were younger, but we also have to grow up sometimes.
I've been playing a lot of Jak 2, Emmett. I know this. But then, uh-oh, aliens are invading Dave & Buster's. And the aliens blow up our characters with a heart bomb. Oh no, the Twitch E-girls are invading. They're gonna call you guys racial slurs. Run! So all the characters make it into the post-apocalyptic Batcave. But not before we meet Commander Dear God Please Buy Lego Friends, who is from the Sis-Star system, which means, the sister system. And she invites them to some kind of ceremony. But because the other characters fight back, she kidnaps Batman, Wildstyle, and some other characters from the first movie. Damn, that's like 5 characters. Emmett is then knocked out and we get the worst thing known to man, child acting.
In the middle of a storyline, time travel.
These guys are coming with me.
Wow, these kids went to the same acting school as Destroy Lonely.
For real? It makes me like it even more now.
This motherfucker don't miss.
So all the characters blame Emmett because that's the conflict. The characters then kick Emmett out comedically, leaving Emmett on his own to build a house ship and save his friends. The other characters then arrive at the Sis-Star system, where they meet Queen Whatevera Wanabe, which is a funny pun on the phrase whatever I want to be, evident by her shape-shifting power. You can read this all on Wikipedia if you like, and she reveals her plan in
language that unites all the planets in our system.
Oh no, are we in a musical?
Wait, we're in a what now?
Don't worry,
Oh god fucking damn it. Now, I don't know about you, but I fucking hate song numbers. It's not even an I hate musicals thing. I like musicals. But first of all, musicals are explicitly musicals. You know, I'm not being lied to. Secondly, for the most part, musicals work better as live theater. I'm not too big on movie musicals for this reason. Like, when you're watching live theater, you're going, wow, these people memorized all their lines and blocking. There's a human synergy between the real performer and the real audience member. It's like watching a concert and seeing the artist perform live, as opposed to just watching a live stream on YouTube. It's like watching a let's play of a video game instead of actually playing the game. You can still enjoy it, but you haven't truly experienced the work.
It's such a sadness that you think you've seen a film on your fucking telephone.
Like when I was a kid, I loved Phineas and Ferb, but I hated like 90% of the goddamn song numbers they shoved into the show. The entire plot and pacing is completely halted, and I'm just sitting there awkwardly as Gitchy Gitchy Goo means that I Love You plays. The same deal with this movie. Like, the fuck do you want me to do? Stand up and start dancing? Am I supposed to be impressed that a singer went into a recording studio? On top of that, the song just isn't very good. It's really boring. And on top of that, nothing really happens in the song anyway. She promises all the characters characters their biggest wishes, like Benny's spaceship, for example. She insists she's not evil whatsoever, and that's literally it. Why couldn't this just be conveyed through normal dialogue? Instead, I'm 3.5 minutes of melody closer to my inevitable death. Fuck you, movie. Also, gotta love how Wild Style goes, oh no, are we in a musical number? As a way to go, oh look, we know it's stupid, but they fucking do the musical number anyways? You know, ain't nothing worse than a hypocrite in this world. You know, as self-aware as the first movie was, I don't remember it just bypassing cliches with self-awareness, like all the other shitty-ass Lego movie knockoffs that came out afterwards. Anyways, the Queen's plan is to marry Batman. I don't blame her. I too would. But Wild Style is reluctant, so the Queen's about to punish her. Meanwhile, in long story short, Emmett meets this guy, whose name is Rex, and he's a total badass. And to the film's credit, it is funny how he's literally just a Chris Pratt, complete with raptors and all. So Chris Pratt brings Chris Pratt onto his ship, and then goes, wait a minute, you're Emmett from the first Lego movie, and reveals he's a big admirer, and reveals that he's been to the star system himself, but it led him to being trapped underneath a washing machine, which taught him how to be a badass. He then offers to help and teach Emmett, but under one condition. Emmett grows up into a man. And yeah, that's about it. Meanwhile, everyone else makes it to Planet Sparkles, where they meet some sparkly vampires.
Attractive, non-threatening teen vampire.
You know, a Twilight reference is shockingly obvious for the Lego movie.
I like to talk about feelings and how we're in love, but can't be together.
For real? That makes me like it even more now.
I also DJ on the side and wear women's jeans.
Yo! Playboy Gordy reference?
Sounds like a trap. This guy's a vampire.
They shot the video of this bitch. Hey, talking about, man.
And it turns out all the other characters are getting groomed in the fashion non-pedophile way. And Wild Style is also groomed against her will. I think we need different words for this. But then her hair starts mysteriously changing color. Uh-oh, is Wild Style cutesy at one point? Oh no! So I guess the film's point is to not be edgy, right? It's like a weird self-deprecating version of Jack 2. Only whoever came up with the villains is clearly a 100 Gex fan. Anyways, Chris Pratt and Chris Pratt make it onto this planet. However, TLDR, they stumble upon this weird neighborhood where everyone seems to be happy and friendly. Emmett then encounters Superman and other Warner Brothers owned characters and suspects some brainwashing tomfoolery. Meanwhile, Wild Style is also being attempted to be brainwashed by pop music. Also, Batman does a Fortnite dance and I want to shove a gun in my mouth.
I don't want to live.
That's really a common theme with this movie. Like, it's kind of hard to show you because YouTube copyright is kind of a fucking bitch. But here's the thing, throughout this movie, there are funny jokes in it. But most of the funny jokes in this movie are just pulled from the first movie. Like when a vehicle zooms out and you hear little mouth noises and shit. But a good majority of the rest of the humor is just so awkward. A lot of the humor relies on characters going, oh wow, this thing you are currently doing is so cliche. But yet none of it is actually subverted or parodied. Rather, they just go through with the cliche. In the original movie, the self-awareness led to actual jokes. Not to mention, the pacing was just a lot better. The jokes would randomly cut off at certain points and last as long as they need to, which is funny. It's blink and you miss it type humor. In the sequel, it feels like they misunderstood the original movie. They looked at a very smart semi-satire that used its satire and self-awareness to be more earnest and thought, oh wait a minute, this movie is just calling a bunch of stupid tropes stupid, and that's the whole joke. Anyways, Wild Style escapes and there's a brief Bruce Willis joke. Meanwhile, the Chris Pratts are also trying to escape, but Emmett uses his angry powers to punch a hole in the floor, and the two of them escape that way. And TLDR, they also meet up with Wild Style, and Emmett's all like, look Wild Style, I'm mature like you wanted me to be. But Wild Style isn't as excited as she thought she would be. Uh-oh, the morals kicking in. Cut to Batman being taken to Queen Whatever I Wanna Be's lair, where she dates him but reveals that she's only marrying him to make the guy she really likes jealous.
I was just saying that to make the person I actually want to marry jealous.
Damn, this bitch is a female manipulator. And she is a female manipulator because Batman gets jelly.
I don't go for guys like you.
What do you mean, guys like me? Oh, great. More singing.
Oh, wow. The same gag from, how long ago? 30 minutes ago. Wow. Incredible. Oh, no. Please. I insist. Please just give me another forgettable song number again. Pausing the entire pace to give me information that could just as easily be told through dialogue, just like you did 30 minutes ago, so I can spend that same amount of time the song lasts complaining about it. You know what they say, a fool repeats the same mistake twice in a fucking row. Or at least I do, or I just started saying it like a minute ago. You see, I fancy myself a philosopher. I watch Carl Jung videos on YouTube and regurgitate that information I heard from someone else. Why, yes, I am a philosopher. Have you heard of Carl Jung's archetypes? Yes, I have, dipshit. Everyone's heard of them. You see what this movie's doing to me? I don't even know what I'm fucking talking about anymore. So first off, yeah, the song fucking sucks. With such amazing lyrics as... Oh, and by the way, aside from some somber Everything is Awesome parody near the end, and also not counting some random pop song that cuts between an action scene earlier, which I don't count because it is just so brief, and it sounds like it was made using Nexus presets, this is an FL Studio joke. And yes, I know that's the point. The irony is not lost on me. This is the final original song number of the movie. Yeah, they couldn't even write more than 2 songs for this thing before just giving up completely. They made this movie into a musical, wrote 2
forgettable
songs, and just gave up on making it a musical. Like, at least dedicate yourself to your shitty direction. Come on, dude. So what actually happens in the song number? Well, this fucking mess of a character design reveals she wants to be with Superman, and then Batman, out of jealousy—
You're clearly just confused. Gotham dudes are the best.
Wow, incredible song number. They put in epic rap battles of history in this fucking shit. Plus, everyone knows Batman would make Deftones type music. Everyone knows this. So Batman ends up falling for her because she's so disinterested in him and offers to marry her. So yeah, she gaslighted him. Meanwhile, the other characters make it inside the evil lair. But Emmett discovers Wild Style's blue hair, a moment that happens after they form their plan. But Emmett trusts her anyways, and we cut to Batman. You see, I am a real rapper. Please hire me, Tyler. So Chris Pratt suspects Wild Style is evil and then gives other Chris Pratt a vest and then jumps into space. Although other Chris Pratt's about to blow up this wedding, and yeah, that's about it. So Wild Style sneaks into Shadow Moses, but for women. So then TLDR encounters Wings Club Master Chief and has an epic battle. But then it's revealed that in actuality, she's actually a fucking Lego Friends figure. Wow, Lego really wants me to buy Lego Friends. But then, turns out, they're actually the good guys the whole time.
I do care. I knew there was some sweetness under that darkness.
That is the worst line I've ever heard in my entire life within the past 2 weeks. So what was with the menacing mask and presence, you may be asking? Well,
I tried to wear a mask and talk tough, a language I thought you'd understand, and it totally did not work.
You tried to kill an entire civilization by blowing them up. So yeah, it turns out the bad guys are the good guys.
I tried. The queen sang a whole song about how not evil she was.
Yeah, this plot twist, fucking cheap as shit. Oh, but don't worry, they make a self-aware joke about it, so that excuses all its problems.
That was the truth? You guys are terrible communicators.
I know.
No, you didn't.
If you knew you were terrible communicators, why didn't you come up with a better fucking plan? What part of blowing up a violent civilization did you think would fucking work?
For years, we've tried to join you, to play with you, but you've always pushed us away.
Oh boy, I see where this is going. Anyways, Wild Style sees how happy everyone is, and that's her arc. Yippee. But now it's revealed that Chris Pratt's the real villain. Oh great, I gotta get political now, don't I? Before someone gets mad, here's a disclaimer. So, even way before the Lego movie was even fully in development, it was announced that it would explore quote-unquote gender bias. Top that off with the often critical way the film looks at grittiness and darkness. Obviously, the film's a critique of masculinity, which, look, isn't immediately a problem, but it is a problem when the gender-related stuff is so amateur in this thing. Now, I'm not fucking geeks and gamers, alright? You can explore gender roles and make very great works out of it. The issue is, this movie basically boils down to being overly masculine is bad. Because we have a plot twist about it, we won't explore it at all, but that's how deep it is. They don't really dive deep into it at all. And all the new characters are incredibly one-dimensional. And same goes for the actual twist itself. And top that off with the plot just being straight up sloppy, you end up with a film that pretends to be deeper than it actually is. It's not actually exploring these topics at all. All you really did was make a bunch of self-aware jokes about how stupid grittiness is, and then added in some plot twists and called it a day. I'll dive more into this later, but as of right now, we got more film to go through, unfortunately. So yeah, Chris Pratt's the big bad, and other Chris Pratt's about to destroy the wedding. But Wild Style's all like, no, Emmett, don't do it! But Emmett thinks they're all brainwashed, so he destroys the wedding because he thinks they're brainwashed and in danger. Wild Style's then all like, Emmett, I actually have colored hair and used to love Everything is Awesome. I used to love vapid consumerism that we in the first movie tried to criticize. So Wild Style's all like, I miss when you were my golden retriever autistic boy, Emmett. But Emmett's all like, the real Wild Style wouldn't say that. Which is of course completely wrong. Goth girls love autistic golden retriever boys. So Emmett destroys the world and everyone starts crying and Emmett's like, what did I do? Please insert joke about a haze 2008 here. Other Chris Pratt then kidnaps him, and Wildstyle is turned into a normal Lego, and turns out that Chris Pratt is meant to represent the brother, and the happiness is meant to represent the sister, and they are now fighting over Legos. Wow, this is such a deep moral. I'm actually emotionally affected by this. I need to call someone.
Hello.
Hi.
Hey, Grant.
Hey, I'm recording a video right now. I just want to say I'm sorry I never got to let you play with my Legos when I was a kid.
You never let me touch your Legos, bro. I remember Mom would have to, like, she would be like, oh, I'll get you your own, so she never did.
Are you actually, like, are you actually I'm reviewing the Lego Movie 2, and the whole plot twist is that, the brother and sister are fighting.
I know, I've seen it. I just think it's so funny. Like, you did not let me touch your Legos.
Will you forgive me for committing such a horrible crime?
Oh, of course. I remember, do you remember? I used to
I'm being shamed. I'm recording this for my video. I'm gonna be shamed in front of my whole audience. So Chris Pratt reveals that he's actually Emmett from the future. And in his timeline, he actually crashed underneath the laundry machine and got lost. Forced to watch as the little sister character plays with Batman and Wildstyle. And this makes him so mad that he brings himself out of the washer and becomes a badass. He then comes to the conclusion that he has to prevent all this from happening. All without actually reconnecting with his old friends to see if they actually missed him or not. Wow, how contrived. So he builds a time machine spaceship out of references that aren't as funny as the ones in the original movie. Remember the Star Wars scene in the original movie? That scene was fucking hilarious. You didn't expect it, and yet it made plot sense, and also it led to actually parodying Star Wars. In this movie, however, in this scene, they just reference Doctor Who and Back to the Future, and it's funny because they're just listing off things you recognize, apparently. Parody? The fuck is that? So Emmett's all like, what did you make me do? I'm having a A's 2008 for the PS3 moment. And turns out Armageddon is the mom. Didn't they do this plot twist in the first movie? The mom tells the kids to put all the toys into storage. Didn't they do this climax in the first movie?
I'm not the bad guy in this story. I'm just an amusing side character.
But you're the apocalyptic force in it, self-aware humor. Oh yeah, that reminds me, my gender discussion. My real-life sister embarrassed me so much, I forgot I was Dawn that or something.
Give me back my gender discussion.
Now that we're far enough in the movie, I hope you see the problem now. Here's the problem. The Lego Movie 2's moral is basically be nice to your sister. And also, she can play with Legos too. And being an overly masculine dickhead is bad because we have some plot twists about it. And when Emmett does become masculine, he starts destroying happy things. Again, the problem isn't that these are in the movie. The problem is that they're not really explored properly. Why not actually explore things within this topic that would actually be smart to explore? Dive into why these exist in the first place. How that can lead to you becoming just a shallow human being. I love how the video game Klonoa 2 did this in its last act. While it's not an exploration of masculinity necessarily, it does touch on a lot of the same bases. Where the final boss, the King of Sorrow, is literally the sad version of Klonoa, who is this happy, friendly character, but also went through some fuck shit in the first game. Huh, that kind of sounds a little familiar in a way. And it turns out this King of Sorrow is just kind of a sad, pathetic, a husk of a person. One who is very self-centered and isolated himself from the rest of the world. This allows Klonoa 2 to comment on actual deeper themes like depression, how different people deal with trauma, how becoming a shallow, sad husk makes you kinda just pathetic. I'm not saying the Lego Movie 2 should dive into trauma or anything.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm looking for Silent Hill.
But it should be using its own themes as a launching point for deeper ones. You could have multiple characters with different types of maturity. You could have like a sad one, a macho one, an emo Mad Max one. Each one with their own lists of problems, and Emmett, this happy-go-lucky character, could have to navigate through that. And with the film that's very concerned with what kind of masculine maturity makes you cool, I feel like something among the lines of that would allow the film to grow with its audience. You see, wouldn't that be like more interesting than fucking Batman rap battle? So evil Chris Pratt throws good Chris Pratt under the dryer so that he can become evil too. Even though he already explained his whole fucking plan to him, so why the fuck would this work? And after the most obvious fake out ending ever, Wildstyle and all the other people are trapped in storage. And everyone's all like, man, we're so sad, but Wildstyle's all like, no, we can get out of this. Then they start singing everything is awesome, but it's a sad version. But then Wildstyle starts singing everything is awesome, but it's an optimistic version.
I think I finally get Radiohead.
The one kid then opens up the storage and gets Wildstyle out. Meanwhile, evil Emmett goes under the washer to fight good Emmett, and good Emmett gives his heartwarming speech.
I'm gonna grow up
but I won't stop caring about the people in my life.
Wow, that's actually a really nice moral. I wish the actual narrative was better and actually compensated for it. So the brother and sister get along and apologize. Whoopee. You know, the good guys make it out of storage alive. But then Emmett and Evil Emmett have a comedic epic fight scene, but then Wildstyle saves Emmett, thankfully. And TLDR, as a result, the bad guy dies. And now the brother and sister are happy, Emmett and Wildstyle are happy, the whole world is happy, and Wildstyle made everything is awesome, I guess. Even though the Lonely Island...
God damn, I wish I had a time machine.
To see that action.
Yeah, no, to take back my question.
Yeah, this is a major disappointment. And you don't know how much it hurts for me to say that. This was a movie that I actually did see in theaters, that I really wanted to like. I'm not some jaded old Max Payne looking ass alcoholic. Well, I mean, I am. Point is, I really wanted to like this movie. But for every semi-decent thing there is, and even then, most of it is on the strength of the first movie, there's just a bunch of baffling ideas and poor choices that end up just making this a really disappointing experience. So disappointing, in fact, that it's put the series on ice ever since. The WB didn't even bother renewing the rights and just handed them over to Universal. And while yes, part of it is on the marketing itself, I can't help but feel like the quality of the movie is a massive step down in literally every single way possible. For one thing, the humor is worse. The pacing is just way off compared to the quickness of the original. There's just an over-reliance on meta jokes in the sequel, going for the whole, hey, isn't what we're doing stupid, but doing it anyways motif. There are a few funny jokes in the movie. Most of them, however, are just lifted from the first movie, so I can't even really give full credit on that. However, I don't feel like the movie is unambitious. It tries to have a deeper theme about gender identity and whatnot, but as we mentioned in the review, the theme itself is very paper thin, relying on a lot of similar tropes that a lot of other movies in the animation genre rely on, which is weird since the first movie was very good at subverting those, or at the very least making a very smart joke about it, which is another thing with the original. Instead of relying on, oh, isn't what we're doing stupid, the film relies on all these creative jokes. The film takes the approach of never let them know your next move. It'll misdirect you, use humor as a character building moments. It's just so much more creative. The second film, on the other hand, tries to up the themes and storyline, which is already to a very mixed degree. But meanwhile, the humor is the same, if not downgraded. So the movie is ambitious in the complete wrong direction. I already said how I would improve the core narrative, improving the nuance of exploring maturity, but the other option, and the better one in my opinion, would be trying to up the humor and the creativity of said humor. Maybe go on full sequel parody mode, find more unique jokes that play with the structure of the story. But look at the Deadpool movies, for example. The Deadpool movies may be R-rated, but both the Deadpool movies and the Lego movies are all meta-fictional parodies. They're not that far away removed from each other. Now, Deadpool 2 is a bigger movie, but mostly because the jokes are more creative. The plot is bigger as a result of the humor, not because the humor was downgraded. This is what the Lego Movie 2 should have done, minus the, you know, massive dick jokes. Make a movie that's comedically more creative. Don't be concerned with making a deeper sequel. Sometimes, unless you have a really strong idea and a tight narrative, it doesn't always work. I love the first movie because it's so simple and yet incredibly tight-knit. The sequel just feels a lot looser in comparison. It should have been more tight-knit.
Also, fuck the song numbers.
Overall, this movie is a disappointment. Free YSL.
Fuck you in the lanes you came with. Me and you ain't on the same shit. You ain't in my lane, bitch, nah. Throw that shit in fifth, rollie on my wrist. Ay, baby, you a star, I'm my only wish. I'm counting blue honeys, I'm too money. Ay, and my little bitch, she too lovely. Yeah, hanging up and calling me right back. Ay, baby, why you calling me like that? Yeah, getting high with the seat, lay back. Baby, gon' relax, yeah. Hey, they don't know the half, yeah. No matter what happened, I got your back. Baby, that's the facts, yeah. That's the facts, yeah. We can fight, but the feeling's gone. I try to find the words, but they never come. I can still see you on the lawn. Hey, laying outside in the summer sun. Yeah, we can fight, but the feeling's gone. I try to find the words, but they never come. I can still see you on the lawn, hey, laying outside in the summer sun. Hey, I'm with a dark-skinned girl on a Sunday, that's that Black Sabbath. She put them ones all down on a Hyundai, and she had to have it. Baby, that's the facts, yeah, that's the facts, yeah.
I wanna fuck my head, I wanna fuck my head, I wanna pop my leg, then I wanna fuck my head, I wanna have some sex.
It's Quandale Dingle here.